right, match number 3 had a fairly convincing win again. We're just talking about this setup. Is this a really good setup or a bit of a gimmicky setup?
The Sleipnir setup actually is pretty consistent. They did not devote their mid slots to ECCM. It's possible that they took those sabers and maybe used them for remote ECCM. But with that amount of jams on the field, it's just crazy. They had everything locked down. I think maybe if the Sleipnirs were packing ECM drones that were able to auto-aggress and get some jams out there, maybe just 1 or 2 jams on one of those rooks would have allowed them to get DPS onto those ECM ships and turn the tide of the match.
What makes this setup, the thing that I like so much about this setup is the bonus Proteus.
Yeah.
The bonus Proteus has, T3s have so much bonus to the ECM strength. It's just incredible. Like, they could almost overpower an ECCM module if they only fit 1 to each of those Sleipnirs. Just the bonus would overpower it and put it on even footing once again.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so we do have this one. If you guys want to quickly explain what we're seeing here.
And what you're seeing is just the effect of the ECCM module, how it raises the sensor strength, and then the jamming chances. I don't know the exact formula, but it's all done by percent base when the jam is applied.
It's functional. You can see there the point strength. ECCM adds to your own ship's sensor strength, and then damage. You can the ECM from the rooks and things like that is bonused, and then you can fit signal amps onto them to even increase it more.
Yeah. All right. So you have the offensive ECM, and you have the signal amps to boost that, and then contrary on the other side, you have ECCM as kind of the defensive module for that. And it looked like the Fatal Ascension team did not have that on any of their ships.
The most important thing to note about those modules is ECCM on your own ships, if you don't verse ECM, is useful in no other way. It is only good against ECM, and in no other way does it help you at all.
All right.
Yeah.
Just before we talk a little bit more about ECM, we're going to go to the commentary booth and say hi to Ravy, John Sastro, and CCP Sunset.
Hi, I'm CCP Sunset, back in the commentary booth with Ravy and John Zastro.
Hello.
How are you guys doing?
Oh, really enjoying it. There's some good matches so far.
Yeah.
I just want to say the commentary booth is so much more comfortable this year than it was
It
last year.
really is.
Yeah.
We were in this tiny little closet last year.
A cave, essentially.
Yeah. And the lights were really warm, and here now we got space. I can move my elbows.
There's
It's
light.
great.
I can see things. It's wonderful.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty nice. It's kind of heated up a little bit since I was in
Since
here this
you got
morning.
here.
Wow, I don't even know where to go from there. Thank you so much. But yeah, matches, spaceships. It's all been going on.
So far, I am 1 and 2. My guesstimation is not going so well for me.
I am 2 and 1, so
Yeah,
you're doing better.
I had to go with FA in that last one because they're my CFC bros, but they let me down.
Well, we've had a few questions on the Ask the Experts thread. That's over on the Alliance Tournament section of the forum. So I got a few things to throw at you from random people, okay? So we see a lot of Drakes on TQ, Drake blobs.
Yep.
Why not so much in the tourney?
In the tournament, you really need ships that can do more DPS. The Drakes, they are good at projecting their damage across really long ranges. They've got decent tanks. They're good all-around cheap ships for TQ.
Inexpensive in ISK for sure. It's
Yeah.
it's a great starter place for your first ventures out into PvP.
But in the tournament, cost in ISK doesn't really matter. Cost in points does. And the Drakes are 13 points. So it's a lot more, it's a full 30% more points than you're getting with, say, a Ferox. And a Drake isn't 30% better.
Yeah, the teams have a lot deeper pockets in the tournament. They're going for the best cost per point, not ISK at all.
Okay, so what are the key things that you're looking at when you're making your setup?
You need to make sure that your setup has a clear idea of how it's going to win, and then how it's going to take down the other different major archetypes. So you know to know how you're going to face against the kite team, against a jamming team, against another rush team, for instance. And so you plan it around that and then test it out and refine.
And that's where metagaming can come into a big part of the tournament here, is if you know what they're going to bring before you enter the tournament, you can...
through spying and
spying,
all kinds of other untoward means.
Yeah, and who would do such a thing in EVE Online?
I have no
But
idea.
being able to tailor your own setup to counter theirs.
And often it's not just about knowing what the opponent's going to bring, because it's very rare that you know what the opponent's going to bring. But often you'll know what kind of things are popular by watching testing.
Right.
So you watch a bunch of teams test, you see what kind of stuff is out there, and then you can know how to counter that and counter whatever the flavor of the month
And I
is.
think that's the difference between the teams that win and what people seem to complain about on the forums is a lot more. They think that everyone's really spying. And I don't think it's they're spying as much as they're just preparing for the more popular setups that they know they're going to run into.
Okay, so when you guys personally are predicting the outcome of matches, what do you base that on? Are you looking at who has a good tournament history? Are you looking at the sort of general status of the alliances that are competing? What do you think about?
I'd say it's mostly tournament history. You see a lot of alliances that don't do a lot on TQ that are good in the tournament. That, like for instance, Dead Terrace are one of my favorite tournament teams, but their alliance mostly fell apart. All they've got left is the tournament people, but they're still a great team for the tournament.
Yeah, and I try to look at all of the above. You try to get a general picture of it, but a lot of times I just got to go with my heart. I got to go with my Space Bros.
Feeling.
Yeah, and they just that lets me down constantly.
So being a good team, being like in a great alliance on TQ for day-to-day play, that doesn't necessarily translate to the tournament.
Nope,
Not at all.
As
Like, for instance, Goons are doing great in the tournament.
Yeah, right. Complete opposite of what you expect.
Nobody would ever have expected that.
Yeah, and AAA, which are not so good on TQ, also not so good in the tournament this year. Oh, Iceburn.
Right, okay, well, if we've insulted enough of our teams for now, have we?
For now, we'll be back.
Yeah,
got
I
plenty
think
more of that game.
maybe we'll head back over to the studio and Soundwave and his guests there, and then we'll be back in the booth later on.
Sounds good.
Okay, back to the studio.
Thank you very much, guys. One follow-up question I kind of want to ask before we go into the next match. Knowing what the other team is fielding, either your alliances, of course, both have participated in the alliance tournament several times now. Have there ever been matches where you knew the exact setup you'd be facing?
I believe one or two this year, but I don't think we were as big on the spying as other teams.
Yeah.
I know Rote Capel and PL are always huge when it comes to the metagame, so definitely we don't do as much spying, but rather we just like to practice a lot.
All right.
I think that spying on Singularity is one of those things where it gives you an idea of what the various teams that the group might field. When you know what team they're going to field in a specific match, that's because you have a member of your alliance on their team.
But does that ever happen in test? Like, have you ever
Test
had a
is not
match?
nearly that good, but
right.
it's happened on other teams.
All right. So I mean, there have been situations where you guys have a match coming up and you guys are like, they'll be fielding this. All right, well, that's, I guess that's a bit of an advantage.
Just a little advantage.
All right, let's take a look at the schedule quickly because we do have 3 days of matches. We're not even halfway through this one. Our left side was the winning side. That's what we thought. So far, it hasn't really been that. We have the Godfathers and Dark Taboo coming up. Then we have 4 more matches. We have a quick break then, and then the other 8 matches. That's our day one. There's some really good matches on here. What are you guys looking forward to personally?
Personally, I think the Goons Form Fearless team is going to be a good match. They both put up good fights in the tournament so far. I believe Fearless actually had the Vindy set up that went versus Noli, but I'm not exactly sure on that. I have to look back. But Volta is also a really good team. They are actually the original founders of Triumvirate. A lot of them are on the Verge Collapse team, which in tournaments past, Triumvirate did extremely well. I'm excited for the
Test Alliance versus NC Dot, because I'm hoping Test Alliance will continue our right side victory trend.
All right. I quite like Rote Capelle versus Red versus Blue. I think they're actually 2 fairly good teams. I think Red versus Blue surprised me a little bit, in that I thought they'd maybe kind of be this like having fun, not really that organized. Definitely the case that they were very, very good. So that's one of the things I'm looking forward to as well.
Red versus Blue is the team of my heart.
This is the team of your heart. Mine is Percussive Pizza Time Diplomacy. All right, well, let's go see who's going to win. Who's your prediction on this one, Laz?
Dark Taboo. I actually went on the right side for this one.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like the Godfathers because they beat Test earlier and have a 0 in their name.
I honestly haven't seen Dark Taboo fight, so I'm going to go with the Godfathers.
I'm going to go with Godfathers as well. We know them from previous tournaments, and I think they might win this one.